Well, we have to talk about some of the omissions because they are big talking points. Nathan from Melbourne, Mitch has career best form, Nagoya's MVP, setting J League records. He retired due to Japan's harsh COVID rules and his young family. Arnold coaxes out of retirement to just leave him on the bench for the New Zealand games. Now he's left him out. Brosque, your view on this? It's a bit of a gamble in some ways, isn't it? Because Matt Ryan, we know he's the number one, we know he's the captain, but he's got a bit of an injury apparently at the moment. He's not playing first team for FC Copenhagen. Would you have taken Mitch Langerak?
Look, given the situation you just mentioned with Matty Ryan, the obvious choice between them, as in the next goalkeeper you'd put in, would be Langerak. If you're going off form, it definitely would be him. I just think the whole situation is strange. You know, why did he bring him out of retirement to then leave him out? That side of it doesn't sit well with anybody who's looking from the outside, right? I mean, because if you'd gone with those three, Redmayne, Vukovic and Matty Ryan, initially, no problem. Red has got it to the World Cup. He's got to be there. Vuka has been there throughout the whole
It's
campaign.
the fact he came back.
That's right.
Yeah.
It is. And that's the part that just doesn't sit well at the end of the day. I mean, the conversation with Mitch, I don't know how that would have gone down, how it's ended. But it's a strange one because I would have had no issues taking those three. But bringing Mitch back into the fold. See, I'm fine that he's left Mitch out. I think the other three were there for the whole qualifying campaign.
Yeah.
They deserve to be on that plane.
Okay.
So it's just strange that he brought him in to not play him in the friendlies and then leave him out altogether.
Massive call to leave out Trent Sainsbury, particularly Brosque, I guess, when you look at the fact that Harry Sutter is only just coming back from a serious injury and Kai Rolls hasn't played for a couple of months because he's had a problem as well. What's your views on the Sainsbury situation?
Again, a very, very strange one. Now, I mean, you don't get closer than having to tell your son-in-law that he won't be there. So, I mean, the conversation we know took place and will be fine, but it is another strange one. I think Sainsbury wasn't even a name we were mentioning as being close to not being selected. So it is a massive call, particularly like you said with Kai Rolls, Harry Suter, with their with their situations. Someone like Sainsbury's been there, he's experienced these situations before, and I feel like Matt Leckie is someone who he's picked based on that as well. Obviously, Leckie's been in good form, but mainly for the experience that he has in these situations. So with the injury concerns that we have with those two boys and the look, I thought he would have been there. It is an odd one for me. But again, looking at the guys he has brought in, I've got no issues.
Tom Rogic's omission, perhaps a little bit less controversial, not because he's not a great player, because he is. And I know you've said before you'd have had him on in your squad. You'd have had him on the plane to Qatar.
Well, I would have, based on what he can give us, right? But we didn't hear anything about why he was omitted, left out of the squad. But
he's only just signed for West Brom. I don't think I think he started one or maybe 2 games.
Okay, but I mean, you look at Harry Suter; he's been out for how long, right?
Yep.
So it's not a dissimilar situation there. For me, there's probably more behind it. There probably is more to it. Either Tommy didn't actually want to be a part of it. We haven't heard his side of whether he was happy to be a part of it, given the fact that he wasn't there. But I would have taken him because of the quality that he has. But based on the fact he wasn't in our 2 qualifying matches when we needed him to be there. And we don't know those circumstances, but they were big games. I'm happy for him to have rewarded the boys that were there and they did front up and play in those games.
Your texts are starting to come in on this. It's funny, there's no name to this. It's funny how Graham Arnold talks about minutes played. Joel King has barely played for his Danish side, Odense. Jason Davidson has been playing weekly in Belgium, but King gets the nod. I mean, that's something that Graham Arnold has said, that you need to be fit and playing. But these are the big calls, I guess, that head coaches have to make, particularly ahead of a World Cup. Oh, love it. Spanner, Arsenal still top of the league. I have to say, I thought that game against Chelsea was a potential banana skin for the Gunners, but they've done it again. And only Newcastle have not won the title after a start like this. That was back in 95-96. They keep impressing, don't they?
It literally is now a 2-horse race. I thought Tottenham might be up there, but they keep slipping up. And it's a straight shootout with these two. And, they're really earning their stripes and their spot at the top of the table. I thought it was a brilliant performance against Chelsea as well, right? It wasn't a jammy 1-0, typical Arsenal 1-0 performance. They actually went and played superbly well. So, yeah, great start to the season and straight shootout between the big two at the top.
And City left it very, very late, mate, against Fulham with Haaland's penalty stealing the points very late on. There were two big refereeing decisions in that match. Me and Simon and Alex were just talking about them. Cancelo's red card and the penalty on Kevin De Bruyne. Did referee Darren England get them both right, in your opinion?
I thought he got the first one right. I'm not sure about the second one, but we'll take it. And no, that's trying to be as neutral as I can be, I suppose. I thought, Cancelo's probably was a red and probably a right penalty. But the one at the other end, it was, I think it was referee doing a little bit of a favour for Man City. And by the way, he nearly missed it. So he said, he's come out after and said that's the most nervous he's been taking a penalty, and it kind of showed. Obviously, they didn't start him in the game, but he did make a big impact when he come on. And look, that's the credit to Man City, right? 10 men against Fulham, who have started the season superbly well. Like they're playing great. So to go down to 10 against them, still come away with points is that's why they're right at the top, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't disagree with that, Spencer.
Yeah.
Very, very soft penalty given to Kevin De Bruyne late on, and I agree. I thought it was a red card for Joao Cancelo. Liverpool won away at Tottenham. They can beat the big sides and then stumble against Forest and Leeds. Mo Salah with a brace. There was a controversial refereeing decision in that one, or non-decision, with Alexander-Arnold doing something pretty similar to Cancelo, but he got away with it.
Just referees being inconsistency, Simon. We see it all over the world, mate. We don't need to go into that, but it is, they do tend to even themselves out across the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, they did get away. They got away with one, didn't they, Brosque?
Hey, Spencer, are you concerned that Eric Dyer made a horrible mistake for the second goal? Are you concerned that he is potentially going to be one of England's starting centre-halves in a couple of weeks' time in Qatar?
Mate, I'm concerned for England. Never mind just one player. I think, look, I can't. Normally we're pumped up and ready to go, but I'm not quite.
You will be next week, mate.
Oh, of course I will. You wait till it gets going. We're bringing it home.
Oh, don't say that. Goodness me.
No, honestly, I'm struggling to see England getting. Like I think they'll get out of the group, but I can't see him doing much. They look. I don't even know if they've struggled. So yeah, I think they'll struggle. But Liverpool, great win for Liverpool, and it's just a shame they've got one more game before the mid-season break, right? So Mo Salah, once he starts hitting his straps and scoring goals, Liverpool just look like old Liverpool.
Yeah.
But they've got that break coming up, which you never know what players you're going to get back fit from. So, yeah, good win for Liverpool against a team that, I think that, they're going to be their rivals for the top four spot. So Tottenham fans will be disappointed. Tottenham really showed character to try and get back into the game, and that's how Tottenham have played this year. They play super tight and super conservative really early on, and they only start opening up once they go behind. And I think Tottenham fans are just wanting to see him come out and be more adventurous from the start.
Manchester United's beaten by Aston Villa 3-1 at Villa Park. That's the first Villa home win against United since 1995. I think Mark Bosnich was still at Villa in those days.
Wow.
Cristiano Ronaldo returned to the starting lineup, named captain 3 weeks after refusing to come on as a substitute. That's an interesting call, isn't it, by Ten Hag? Maybe throwing a bit of responsibility his way and reminding them that he's part of a team, but didn't work.
Strange one, though, Simon, isn't it? When you're talking about a player that, he came out publicly and slammed him for what he did, but, ultimately the manager's responsibility is to go and get results, and he thought by doing that it would get a positive reaction, but, the performance wasn't so great, and Villa just responded, getting a new manager in for his first game in charge, so that would be good for the Villa fans, seeing them getting off the mark and turning Man United over. But Man United have been really impressive so far this season. They're starting to get themselves together, but they really struggled at the weekend.
And Newcastle, Spanner, I mean, they had an impressive 4-1 win away to Southampton, sitting very well third on the table at the moment. I mean, it seems as though there's a good chance they'll be playing in Europe next year, if not, at least European or Champions League football. Can you see them going after big names in the January window?
They've got so much money to spend, it's not even funny. Of course they will. They'll go and bring some more in. Eddie Howe will strengthen it even more. I'm really impressed with them this year. They're one of my favourite teams to watch. They're so attacking. They play without fear. He's done an amazing transformation, and I mean the budget does kind of help. But they're also very, very solid defensively. The thing against that, with that game was obviously Southampton losing again at home. Their manager gets punted, and they're struggling. Southampton are struggling, but Newcastle have shown over the last couple of weeks just how ruthless they can be. They went and smashed Villa the week before. They've now gone and smashed Southampton. And again, you've alluded to it. I think given the budget that they've got and now the expectations and the excitement around the city, yeah, they'll go out. They'll probably bring somebody else in January, just another name to keep the thing rolling on. And I wouldn't back against them getting in the top 4 Champions League at the end of the season.
And that defeat, of course, for Southampton meant the end of the road for Ralph Hasenhüttl, who became the 5th manager or stroke coach to lose his job this season. Nuno Espirito Santo, Sean Dyche, been linked along with Nathan Jones and Marcelo Gallardo. One more question, Spen, before we let you go. We've got a question that's come in via the text line, 0457 736 736. This one from Martin. What on earth is going wrong with West Ham? Because the squad is strong.
Yeah, but I don't think they've not gone mad in the summer. They haven't spent stupid money, and David Moyes has done he did an incredible job the last couple of seasons, but they've flatlined a bit. And I know we talk about what's going wrong. Before the weekend they're sitting mid-table, and they're starting to get themselves back in there. Palace beat them, but Palace are a very, very good side themselves. So, West Ham have, like we said, got themselves into a good position over the last couple of seasons. Antonio has not stepped up like we thought he might again this year. And the thing with Davy Moyes and the way he sets West Ham up is they have one way of playing. It's not super direct, but it's pretty predictable. And the thing is, they don't change it. They literally haven't changed the way that they play. They just rely on what they've done for the last couple of years. And yeah, there's no plan B at West Ham. I can't see one. I haven't seen one. I talk to a lot of the West Ham supporters, and they're very frustrated with the way that they're playing. They like it when they're winning and getting the results, but when things aren't going so well, then they start looking up Moyes and what's going on. But he's been very successful over the last couple of years. So stick with him. I'm sure he'll get him out of trouble again.
Okie dokie. This weekend's fixtures: City against Brentford, 11:30 p.m. Saturday night. Newcastle Chelsea, 4:30 a.m. Sunday morning. Wolves against Arsenal, 6:45 a.m. Sunday morning. And we've got the FA Cup first round this week on Paramount Plus as well, which is always brilliant. Remember, you can listen to the Premier League every weekend on SEN, including Manchester City against Brentford from 11 o'clock on Saturday night, and Liverpool versus Southampton from 1:30 a.m. on Sunday morning. Spencer, we've got to let you go. Thanks, mate. Speak to you next week.
Nice one.
Thanks, mate.
Take care. See you, boys.
That's Spencer Pryor, and we'll get his thoughts on the Champions League draw and the Europa League draw next week. The highlights of which, Real Madrid against Liverpool, and in the Europa League, Barcelona against Manchester United. What a tie that will be. And a Celtic and Everton update for the Sydney Super Cup. Celtic play Everton November the 20th at Accor Stadium, of course. Ange Postecoglou's Celtic scored that 4-2 win over Dundee United at home at the weekend. The hosts with a 2-1 lead at the break. But Dylan Levitt's equaliser on 87 minutes looked to have nicked a point for Dundee United before Kyogo Furuhashi, who didn't make the Japanese World Cup squad, came to the rescue again, scoring his 10th goal of the season. And 3 minutes later, Lyle Abadar scored a fourth for Celtic to seal all 3 points. They face Motherwell on Thursday in their final league game before the World Cup. Everton's patchy run of form continued in the Premier League, going down 2-0 to Leicester, dropping them to 16th and just 2 points off the drop zone. They face Bournemouth away in the league and cup this week. Their last opportunity to gain some momentum going into that clash with Celtic at Accor Stadium on November the 20th. The Sydney Super Cup, Celtic and Everton are here November the 20th. Book your tickets now via sydneysupercup.com.au.